Radio, powered by.
How can you grow your business from idea to industry leader? With smart business buying tools and technology from Amazon Business. From fast, free shipping to in-depth buying insights and automated purchase approvals, we deliver everything you need. Go to amazonbusiness.com for support.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Gem City Water, we're a local veteran-owned company that offers affordable reverse osmosis systems and installs them for free. Get pure, great-tasting water right from your own tap. Visit gemcitywater.com for more info.
If you need new roofing, siding or gutters, skylights or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. See Lance Roofing and Siding at their new location at 6903 Dayton Springfield Road in Enid. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722. Online at lanceroofing.com.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Progressive knows life takes you in many directions.
Bear right at exit 32, then begin to wonder why you never bought a fish tank. In 1.3 miles, you'll realize you've been mispronouncing epitome your whole life. At the roundabout, you will remember you said something at dinner you wish you hadn't and will think about it for decades. You have arrived at your destination, but it turns out there really is no destination and life just keeps going.
Wherever life takes you, protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Polking Bowling Centers are your connection for family fun or a great night out with friends. Looking for a clean and safe venue for your new grad celebration? Check out our VIP suite at Polking Lane South. Set the mood for your event with a state-of-the-art VIP experience in our private 8 lanes VIP suite. Booking now for spring and summer events. Let the good times roll at Polking Lane South in Centerville on Kings Ridge Drive, Woodman Lanes in Kettering on Woodman Drive, and Polking Lanes in Dayton on Wilmington Avenue.
Menards has all the tools and fasteners you need to finish your home improvement project. Whether you need standard nails for general construction or specialty nails for specific applications, you'll find them here. New Fast collated nails are made in the USA with the highest quality steel. Check out our entire selection of New Fast collated nails and view our weekly flyer on menards.com for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show. Right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM, 937-518-1410. That's the number that you call. That's the number that you text. You can also hang out and then be involved in the chat on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page where you could watch the show live. Same thing with the ESPN Dayton YouTube channel. Many different ways to take the show in, so please go and take advantage of that. We got a lot to get into. We're going to talk about Dayton Flyers in the NIT. UC announces and introduces their new coach today. We are less than 24 hours. No, we're just over 24 hours. We're almost 24 hours away from Reds opening day. And, of course, there's a lot of good to talk about and some questionable things to talk about. The IL list just continues to get bigger and bigger. But we know what the Reds' rotation is going to look like to start the season. How long will the rotation look like? That is the question. But excited to be with you. Yesterday, I had to tough out the show. I mean, I had a migraine beyond all migraines. I mean, it was a horrific migraine, but I got through it. And glad to be back today. Way more talkative, way more energetic, and I feel like arguing with some people today. So we'll see how that goes. 1 second. Let me grab my water. There we go. See, I told you my ADD is bad today. But let's get into it. So how about this news that came out late yesterday, or at least like right as the show was ending, of course, the Cincinnati Bengals announced that they are going to bring Joe Flacco back, that he is going to be the backup to Joe Burrow for this upcoming season. All right, Joe Flacco is definitely not mad about having to re-sign with the Cincinnati Bengals. He does sign on a 1-year deal, by the way. But if it were up to him, well, he'd be playing somewhere where he could be the starter. This was him in his press conference earlier today.
I feel like I can help a team win. And yeah, it may be in a different role here, but I do still think I can help this team win in that role. I had a lot of fun with Joe, and Joe's the guy. And believe me, I wish I was a guy somewhere. And I think teams are dumb for not having me be that guy. But it is what it is, and I'm not going to let them or it get me down. I'm going to be the person I am and just approach football the way I always have. So
that was Pro Bowl quarterback Joe Flacco, weighing in on how dumb he thinks a lot of NFL teams are for not having him be the guy. And you guys know my opinion on this. I've stated this for a while now. I think there are a lot of teams around the NFL that are kind of silly for not making him their starter. I get it. He's not your long-term starter. But when you talk about a bridge year or talk about a year of uncertainty at quarterback, why would he not be your guy? A team that I think makes the most sense, a team that I think should have really, I mean, when you talk about the two 40-year-old quarterbacks who are still starting, or at least in the mix to start in today's NFL, when you look at Aaron Rodgers, when you look at Joe Flacco, I honestly, if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think you're going all in on the wrong 40-year-old. I mean, Joe Flacco, to me, last year, way better than Aaron Rodgers. Not just better than Aaron Rodgers. To me, looked way better than Aaron Rodgers. And to Aaron Rodgers' credit, he played, and I like Aaron Rodgers. I'm not an anti-Aaron Rodgers guy like most people. All I'm saying is Aaron Rodgers looked good for a 40-year-old. Joe Flacco looked good for a quarterback. I mean, he was just phenomenal last year. I don't understand how the Pittsburgh Steelers could be sitting around being held hostage by Aaron Rodgers, who did not play great last year. He played well. I mean, look, they won the division. But it was one of those last man standing type of division wins because the Browns were a 5-win team. The Bengals were banged up and injured. All right, the Ravens, I mean, they were just giving it away. And, we saw what happened there. Like, someone had to win that division. It was a bad division last year. So, yes, they won the division. Aaron Rodgers won the division. But bottom line is, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm not mad about this, but I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers would be a much better team if Joe Flacco was their 40-year-old quarterback versus the 40-year-old quarterback that they think is their quarterback that hasn't committed to being their quarterback, that at some point is going to put them in a position where they might be screwed one way or another, unless our guy, Will Howard, ends up being the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, which I'm going to be put in a tough spot because I'm a Will Howard guy now. I wasn't for the longest time, but after seeing him flip that switch to lead the Buckeyes to a national championship, I am a big Will Howard guy. But I'm a Joe Flacco guy as well, which is why it's painful to see him go to Cincinnati or return to Cincinnati. I remember last year everyone was ticked off about the Browns trading within the division. And I shouldn't say everyone. It was the crybaby coach of the Steelers that ended up quitting at the end of the year. And Mike Tomlin, he was taking shots at the Browns because, why would they trade, within the division? You had a chance to trade for him too. He could have been your 40-year-old quarterback that was helping you win football games. Is what it is. But I'm a Joe Flacco guy. One of my favorite seasons. Again, there's not many favorite seasons as a Browns fan because there's not a lot of great fun seasons to pick from. But when he came off his couch and then led the Browns to the playoffs, 3 years ago, that was one of the funnest storylines to follow in all of football. Even if you hated the Browns, you had to be. I mean, Joe Flacco was a feel-good story, and he was a feel-good story that year. We saw him last year. I think he was one of the worst quarterbacks in football for the first month of the season. Me included thought he should have just retired and probably not come back. But then we found out it was a Browns problem. It wasn't a Joe Flacco problem because he goes to Cincinnati and was putting up damn near the same numbers that Joe Burrow was. Some of you got mad at me and thought I was taking a shot at Joe Burrow, and maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. But the bottom line is, regardless of where my opinion was coming from, I didn't think that the Bengals last year had a major drop-off. They didn't miss the playoffs last year because Joe Burrow was injured. They missed the playoffs last year because of how bad that defense was, because to Joe Flacco's credit, he came in and he put up Joe Burrow numbers. In fact, when you look at the games that Joe Burrow was healthy for last year, Joe Flacco's numbers were better. He averaged more yards, better completion percentage, more touchdowns. Like Joe Flacco was the guy when he was in. It is what it is. Look, I'm not advocating for that Joe Flacco's a top 5 quarterback or anything crazy like that, but good for the Bengals. I think here's my problem though. Why did the Bengals do this? Why were they so aggressive with this? Like, I think that the Bengals are sending a message to Joe Burrow more than anything else. Guys, do you realize it's not just that they brought Joe Flacco back? Did you see what they paid to bring him back? ESPN's Jeremy Fowler said that according to his sources earlier today, that Joe Flacco's contract is for $6 million, but it could be worth up to $9 million with incentives. We're talking about up to $9 million for a backup quarterback. And as much as you guys like Joe Flacco, if you see Joe Flacco, that's not a good thing. The fact that the Bengals Joe Flacco is kind of upset. He's calling other teams dumb for not buying in and making him their starter. But I don't feel bad for Joe Flacco, who's going to make $6 million to be a backup. But I don't think that's why Cincinnati necessarily brought Joe. To me, and I'm missing one. Is there a better backup quarterback in the NFL than Joe Flacco? In all seriousness, I think that the Bengals just got the best backup quarterback in the NFL because I think he's good enough to be a top 15 starting quarterback in the NFL. I think Joe Flacco has played that well and earns that right to have that discussion. So why did the Bengals do this? They're a cheap organization. Why would they spend up to $9 million on a backup quarterback? They're telling Joe Burrow, they're telling you they can't rely on Joe Burrow. They don't trust Joe Burrow to stay healthy. It's as simple as that. If Joe Burrow was a little bit more tough, if he was a little bit more basically not glass, if he was a quarterback that you can count on and rely on to stay healthy and to be out there when it matters most, I don't think Joe Flacco is the starting quarter or the backup quarterback. I think that they make a late round trade for an Andy Dalton and spend maybe $2 million to get Andy Dalton. Guys, they spent they're up to $9 million to go get Joe Flacco. You don't spend that type of money on a player that is not supposed to play. They're spending that much money on a player because they anticipate he is going to play because they can't rely on Joe Burrow. I think the Joe Flacco signing, there's multiple ways to look at this. If you look at it from the Bengals' perspective, they're spending up to $9 million on a backup quarterback because they don't trust Joe Burrow to stay healthy. Even the biggest homer Bengals fans out there, you won't admit it because you'll have to admit that I was right. But you won't admit it on this show. But you know deep down that Joe Burrow can't stay healthy. And you want to know who else thinks that Joe Burrow can't stay healthy? How about the guy that agreed to be the Bengals' backup quarterback in Joe Flacco? Joe Flacco wants to play. He wants to start. Why would he agree to be the backup quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals? Now you're saying, well, how do you know that he tried to be a starter elsewhere? This is a guy that was so patient one time, waited till week 11 to come off the couch. Joe Flacco is saying, he's saying all the right things. It's Joey B's team. He's the guy. He's a fragile guy. He hurts himself sneezing. He hurts his pinky. He hurts his wrist. He has an appendectomy. He hurts his leg. It's always something. It's his calf. It's always something with Joe Burrow. Joe Flacco, there's multiple angles of this. Joe Flacco went back to Cincinnati because he is confident that is a place that he is going to play and he is going to start at some point. That's what he's confident in. And he also likes the fact that the Bengals did tune up that defense. That defense isn't elite. That defense isn't great, but it doesn't have to be. When you're putting up the numbers that Joe Flacco and Joe Burrow did last year, that defense doesn't have to be elite. But that defense is pretty solid now. I like the changes that they made. I don't like the structures of the contract as we talked about yesterday, but I do like what those additions do for the Bengals right now. It makes them an average defense with an elite explosive offense, still with holes and deficiencies, but this is a good football team. But like I said, I didn't think anything of it when they signed Joe Flacco. I thought good for him, good for them. But when I saw that they gave him up to $9 million, they're telling you, hey, we have to have a $9 million insurance. So in essence, when you think about it, think of the money that, Joe Burrow is very good and he's worth the money you paid him, but think about the money that he's costing you. Look at it this way. $55 million a year for Joe Burrow, more than worth it. But think about what he has cost you as an organization. You had to spend $30 million a year on a second number one wide receiver that has hurt you on defense. Now you've had to go and you've had to spend up to $9 million on a backup because you don't trust that he can stay healthy. So you have $40 million a year that is tied into Joe Burrow outside of just his contract alone. T. Higgins is there because Joe Burrow bullied the organization into keeping him, even though that wasn't the smart move. The smart move was to take that $30 million, put it on defense. And now Joe Flacco's here. The Bengals want him here because they don't trust Joe Burrow to stay healthy. He is costing them a lot more than just his annual salary, as far as I'm concerned. But let's go to the chat. 93. And by the way, you can text into the show, call into the show, 937-518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Ron Howard, what up, Ron? Ron says Flacco is inconsistent, hot, cold, no middle. Age and mobility hurts him. Look, by the way, when I'm advocating for him to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, I'm basing it off of teams that don't really have a whole lot of options. The Steelers don't have a whole lot of options. I think that the reason that they're willing to be held hostage by Aaron Rodgers is because as much as I would like Will Howard to be a guy in the NFL, I don't think that he has convinced them that he can be the guy, which is why they're willing to be held hostage by Aaron Rodgers for a little bit. But if you're going to roll out a 40-year-old quarterback, I think Joe Flacco is the better 40-year-old quarterback between the two. But no, of course he has some mobility issues. Of course his age is a concern, Ron, but his age has been a concern for the last 3 or 4 years, and it hasn't impacted any teams out there. It's only helped him. The Bengals, if they just have a slightly less bad defense last year, Joe Flacco is leading the Bengals to the playoffs last year, or has him back in the playoff picture when Joe Burrow comes back around Thanksgiving. Nonetheless. Ron Howard, you think that Mac Jones is the best backup? A very damn good backup. I don't know if he's the best backup. You put Joe Flacco in San Fran. You put Joe Flacco in I thought honestly Joe Flacco was going to end up with the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't really know what the update is on the health of Patrick Mahomes, but I thought he was going to end up with Kansas City. But I just don't think that Kansas City wants to spend up to $9 million on a backup because, yes, Patrick Mahomes is coming off of an injury, but he's a pretty solid quarterback when it comes to staying healthy. He doesn't miss a lot of games. The Bills will never spend up to $9 million on a backup quarterback because Josh Allen doesn't miss football games. Patrick Mahomes is going to miss some games, yes, but Patrick Mahomes doesn't miss football games, so they will never spend up to $9 million on a backup quarterback. The Ravens probably would, but that doesn't really make sense. I don't think that the offense, and again, who knows what the offense will look like moving forward, but it'll also be Lamar-centric. But nonetheless, what up, Chad? Chad he's on the ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Chad says, I see what you're saying, but we all know Burrow alternates, injured seasons. He'll be there all year this year. You're not wrong. Joe Burrow's never been able to put together back-to-back healthy seasons, but he's never had back-to-back unhealthy seasons. So I kind of see what you're saying there. I'll give you that one nonetheless. But it's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Am I reading too much into this? I think that the Bengals, I didn't think this was a big deal until I saw the number. The Bengals are spending up to $9 million for Joe Flacco. To me, that screams that they are not super high on trusting Joe Burrow to stay healthy. They don't trust Joe Burrow. It's as simple as that. You don't spend $9 million on a backup quarterback if you absolutely trust your starter. And this isn't they don't think Joe Burrow's good enough. They just don't think he's tough enough. They don't think that he's durable enough. Simple as that. Let me know in the chat. 937-518-1410. You could text or head to the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. We'll pick up with this when we come back.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Upgrade to a new quality bath remodel in less time with minimal inconvenience and for less money with Bath Creations in as little as 2 days. We do it right. There are a lot of others boasting about bath remodels these days. Well, Bath Creations' expert craftsmanship and customer service speaks for itself. Plus, all first responders, veterans, and active military will save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit our beautiful showroom at 8741 North Kimball Road in Clayton or at mybathcreations.com and upgrade your new bath today.
ABS, TPMS, CVT, VVT. The auto industry loves its alphabet soup, but at Carroll Works Tire in Dayton, we keep it simple. The only acronym you need to remember is TIRE. Trust, integrity, reliability, expertise. That's what we deliver every day. Carroll Works Tire, keeping Dayton rolling with TIRE service you can count on. Find us online at C-W Tire or talk to a real human. 937-461-5441.
When you've thrown over 4,000 innings like I have, you know joint pain isn't a maybe, it's a guarantee. For you, was it climbing ladders or too much heavy lifting? Hey, we're all in the same boat. But surgery, that was never my answer.
Baseball legend Roger Clemens knows there's a better way. That's QC Kinetics regenerative treatments that help your body heal itself. No scalpels, no fake fixes, just real relief.
What I love about QC Kinetics, these are the most respected medical pros in the country that specialize in non-surgical therapies to get you moving again.
Don't mask the pain, fix it. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
I trusted QC Kinetics. You should too.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
Talk about stepping up. It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio. So we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Cordell Transportation is looking for more weekend warriors. If you have a Class A CDL and would like to make some extra money casually driving weekend daytime routes, then Cordell Transportation is looking for you. Home daily, all loads round trip, no touch freight, and competitive pay. Full-time routes could become available if you're interested. Drive weekends at Cordell Transportation. Apply at CordellTransportation.com or call Ron at 937-277-7271. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show. Right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, I'm here back. It's the Justin Kinner Show. Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. 937-518-1410. That's the number that you can call or text. We'll get to your texts coming up here in just a moment. We've been talking a ton of college basketball recently, obviously. We're going to talk Dayton Flyers hoops coming up in just a little bit. UC announces Jared Calhoun as their next head basketball coach. It was a who's who of UC royalty in attendance for his introduction. Even Bob Huggins in attendance, of course, who Calhoun played for back in the day. So we'll talk about that. There's just a lot of programs in Ohio who are showing not desperation, but urgency. Is UD matching that with some of those programs around college basketball right now, and especially when it comes to these in-state foes, when you look around college basketball? So I want to get into that. Nonetheless, obviously, I've been spending a lot of time really talking up my alma mater, Wright State. They had a phenomenal year, ended in the first round of the NCAA tournament in a game against, of course, Virginia, where they had a 5-point lead at the half, tied with under 7 minutes to go, and played with Virginia. They didn't, it wasn't one of those where Virginia played poorly and Wright State took advantage. They were taking Virginia's best shots as well. So, but a phenomenal season there. Now we just wait and see kind of who's going to hang around. Now that baseball season's officially here, college baseball, the one thing that Wright State does have going for it as well is, to me, has the best college baseball program in the state. Yes, Ohio State baseball is very, very good, but last night it was really cool at the Nish at Wright State last night. And to Ohio State's credit, this is what I do love about college baseball, although the egos for baseball for some programs in town kick in as well. But Ohio State willing to play at Wright State. UC will play at Wright State. UD has played at Wright State, but when things get a little tough for them, they always take Wright State off the schedule. Tell me where you've heard that before. But unless they need to help fill up Dare Ballpark all of a sudden, then it's okay to put Wright State on the old baseball schedule as far as that goes. But how about Wright State last night? They pick up their third huge Power 4 win. They have 2 wins against SEC teams and now a Big Ten win last night. They beat Ohio State at home 10-8. Wright State has 2 SEC wins on the year. They beat Georgia. Tennessee, who is a powerhouse, they shut out Tennessee just a few weeks ago, and then they pick up a home win last night against the Buckeyes 10-8. So again, Wright State athletics rolling. The basketball team showing out this year, handing it off to the baseball team. Clint Sargent threw out the first pitch last night, and then they go on to beat Ohio State. So that was pretty cool nonetheless. All right, we open up the show with the breaking. It's not really breaking news, but it was a big deal. I think you have to look into this Joe Flacco returning to Cincinnati thing a little bit more than it just being, you'll get Joe Flacco to be the backup. Joe Flacco is good enough to be a starter in this league still, even at his age. I thought the reason this caught my attention, it wasn't that the Bengals brought Joe Flacco back. It's what they paid to bring him back. All right, so the Cincinnati Bengals, according to sources of ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Joe Flacco's contract is for $6 million, but it could be worth up to $9 million with incentives. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals aren't very big on paying starters a lot of money, but that's big money for a backup quarterback that you hope and fingers crossed you don't have to see. Why would the Bengals, who are very cheap in they didn't want to. Trey Hendrickson is the sack leader in the NFL. Trey Hendrickson is one of the top defensive pass rushers in the NFL. They didn't want to pay him, but you fork over a third of what Trey Hendrickson wanted. They ended up giving a third of what he wanted to a backup quarterback. And we know how important the backup quarterback position is. But I'm telling you right now, the Cincinnati Bengals, $6 million to Joe Flacco, up to $9 million. The Bengals are willing, a cheap organization, they are willing to spend $9 million on a backup. Why? Because they don't trust Joe Burrow. Simple as that. The Cincinnati Bengals, of all teams, are willing to spend up to $9 million on a backup quarterback that you pray you don't even have to see take the field once this year. That, to me, screams they don't trust Joe Burrow to stay healthy. The second part to that equation is why would Joe Flacco agree to come back to Cincinnati, who has Joe Burrow as their starting quarterback? He is never going to win out a QB battle with Joe Burrow, and to his credit, he said that in his press conference earlier today. Joe Burrow is the man here. He knows that. He also knows, just like the front office knows, that he's soft, that he is injured all the time, that he misses a lot of games. And even when he's not missing games, a lot of times injuries are playing a role in why the Bengals get off to slow starts, as he has to get that wrist acclimated. The pinky impacts him sometimes, the calf years ago, the appendectomy. Joe Flacco knows. History has told you that 6 years of Joe Burrow's career, there is always something going on. That's why the Bengals are willing to spend up to $9 million for a backup quarterback, and that is why Joe Flacco wasn't super aggressive with pursuing other opportunities, because he's looking at Cincinnati saying, I love throwing the ball to Jamar Chase. I love throwing the football to T. Higgins. And although the job is not mine, I know that Joe Burrow is a sneeze away from the job being mine. I think it's very telling, and it's coming off of a weekend where I said I wasn't a fan of Joe Burrow participating. I was, not a fan of Joe Burrow participating in that flag football game over the weekend. I found it to be very selfish and reckless. Joe Burrow, knowing the amount of time that he has missed, with the amount of money that the Bengals pay him, with the amount of time that he has missed, and with the amount of the way that he has impacted the Bengals, as great as he, as positive as he has impacted that franchise, his inability to stay healthy has also impacted that franchise in the opposite way, a negative way. So why would you go out and purposely put yourself in harm's way? I don't like that. I don't think that was smart. And kudos to Bengals fans, because a lot of you agreed with me as far as that's concerned. But not a fan whatsoever of Joe Burrow's decision over the weekend. But yeah, one more time. When I saw that the Bengals were willing to spend up to $9 million, because this contract is worth up to $9 million with incentives, man, that's a lot of money. The quarterback, the fact that the Bengals, who are cheap and have so many holes on defense to fix, and they've done a solid job. I hate the contract structures, but I think they've done a good job. Of all the free agents that were signed this offseason, the two biggest cap hits, because they're not good at structuring these deals, the two biggest cap hits amongst any of the free agents in football, the Bengals signed the top two most expensive cap hit players. That's a problem for a team that was already operating as if they had no money. Even though they had money, they don't operate modernly when it comes to the way these money deals work. So, but I do like the players they added. So they're going to naturally be better because of that. It just impacts how they're going to go. So you have $70 million a year tied into two wide receivers. You have a $55 million a year quarterback, and you add a backup quarterback that can cost you up to $9 million. So now we're talking $64 million into the QB position itself, plus $70 million. $130 million of this cap space is just built in to Joe Burrow. If you think about it, like Joe Burrow, yes, you pay $55 million for him. No problem there. But you just spent up to $9 million for a backup because you can't trust him. You spent $30 million a year on a second number one wide receiver in T. Higgins because you didn't know how to tell him no. He's costing the Bengals, because no one in that front office is an adult that knows how to manage that. The Chiefs knew how to manage Patrick Mahomes. The Patriots knew how to manage Tom Brady. The Bengals don't know how to manage Joe Burrow, which is why he was out there this past weekend risking injury in a meaningless flag football game. That's why they're throwing around money very aggressively, not very intelligently. Who knows? All right, I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. We'll get back into some of that coming up later on. But I'm a Joe Flacco fan. That pains me, especially with him being back in Cincinnati. But I do think that, hey, if you're going to go get a backup quarterback, you need to have a good backup quarterback. The Bengals have that. The money, that's what got me. To be honest, I saw this news come across my desk yesterday. Didn't think anything of it. Yeah, okay, cool. Joe Flacco back in Cincinnati. I get it. But when I saw the money that they spent to get him, that's where I was like, okay, the front office is telling you something there. They're telling you they're not, they don't trust old Joey B as far as that's concerned. All right, I do want to talk college basketball. I want to step away for a few moments. We'll step away for a few moments. When we come back, UD in action in the NIT. But you look around college basketball, you see these teams who are not meeting their expectations and are making cutthroat decisions. Teams are being aggressive with how they're trying to take their program to the next level. I don't know if Dayton is paying attention. Dayton needs to pay attention to a lot of these programs who are doing everything they can, not just to swim in mediocrity. We'll talk about that when we come back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Oh, my house needs some help. It needs a new roof, new windows, and siding if I can afford it. I just don't know who to call. Your house is updated and looks so nice. Who does your work?
Buckeye Home Services does all my work. Their prices are affordable and they do a great job. Call 586-6600 for a free estimate. Buckeye does roofing, siding, gutters, leaf guards, windows, doors, patio covers, even kitchens and baths.
Sounds like they're the ones to call. What's that number again?
Buckeye Home Services, 586-6600.
Each day it seems tougher to make ends meet with rising prices. Vivek Ramaswamy believes if you work hard, you shouldn't have to struggle. That's why he's working to lower costs, putting Ohio families first. Because as a father who just welcomed his third child in February, this fight isn't political, it's personal. Just ask his wife.
Bringing a new baby home puts everything into perspective. I'm a Purva Ramaswamy. Nothing means more to my husband Vivek than being a father. He knows Ohio families are working hard but falling behind. Like every parent, he wants safe communities, great schools, and a state where hard work means you can afford your home, your groceries, and your future. Vivek is running for governor to give every family a fair shot at a better life. So Ohio's future stays right here.
Lower costs, bigger paychecks, better schools. Vivek Ramaswamy for governor.
Paid for by Vivek Ramaswamy and Rob McCauley for Ohio.
Do you have trouble getting in and out of the bathtub? Are you afraid you'll slip and fall entering or exiting a tub? Safe Step walk-in tubs can transform your bathtub from an area of concern to a calming refuge. Call them today at 1-800-731-4558 and save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs and showers are proudly made in Tennessee and offer an ultra-low step-in, avoiding that difficult climb over a traditional bathtub wall. They also offer a variety of therapeutic benefits that may help soothe your aching muscles and joints, increasing your mobility, boosting your energy, and improving your sleep. Safe Step walk-in tubs are designed to easily fit your existing tub space and are often installed in as little as one day. Just dial 1-800-731-4558 today to save $1,600 and receive a free shower package. That's 1-800-731-4558 for a free no-obligation consultation and to save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs. Safety never felt so good.
It's tax time, y'all. If you want to file free, this next one's for you.
Now taxes is so free. Tax-free edition only, roughly 37% of filings qualify. Simple form to 40 returns only. This is tax.
Love that jam. Up next, commercials.
And to get TurboTax free edition, see if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return,
But I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Trying to keep up with today's fast-changing digital landscape, with more ways to consume content than ever before, it is getting harder to reach your customers. You need more than just a presence. You need the experts at Conrex Digital. We craft websites that convert. We curate engaging content on social and blog channels. We generate quality leads through Google and Meta. We dominate your competition on streaming TV. Bold marketing, real results. Conrex Digital makes it happen. Visit conrexdigital.com. That's conrexdigital.com.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. It's the Justin Kim Show here on a Wednesday. Well, yeah, I guess 24 hours from now, you will hear the Reds are on the radio jingle, crack these airwaves, and get you set for Reds opening day. How about that? How about that? I'm Justin Kinner. Again, we welcome you back. We opened up the show, just reaction to Joe Flacco announcing that he's returning to Cincinnati. Joe Flacco a little upset with teams around football because he feels those teams are dumb for not making him their starting quarterback.
I feel like I can help a team win. And yeah, it may be in a different role here, but I do still think I can help this team win in that role. I had a lot of fun with Joe, and Joe's the guy. And believe me, I wish I was a guy somewhere. And I think teams are dumb for not having me be that guy, but it is what it is. And I'm not going to let them or it get me down. I'm going to be the person I am and just approach football the way I always have. So,
and again, that was Joe Flacco just kind of talking about his decision to come back to Cincinnati. He knows it's Joe Burrow's job. not a quarterback competition. I mean, I'm not saying anything you guys don't know. Colton Schmidt, who's watching the show on Facebook. Appreciate you, Colton. Again, the Justin Kinner Show. Follow the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page if you haven't done so already, please. Colton says, I think the Bengals re-signed Joe Flacco because they probably know there's a chance Joe Burrow will go down again with an injury. Well, I agree 100%. And to be fair, every team that signs a solid backup quarterback is doing that in case this happens. But I don't know how many teams, and again, correct me if I'm wrong. You guys can go and look this up. I don't know who the most expensive backup quarterback in the NFL is. Actually, I do know. Probably Deshaun Watson. I already know that answer, Deshaun Watson. So outside of Deshaun Watson, I think Joe Flacco might be the most expensive backup quarterback in the NFL. All right. But in all seriousness, I mean, like, the Browns have a backup quarterback in Deshaun Watson because, he was a really expensive, crappy starter that never panned out. But as far as teams that go out and actually spend money on a backup quarterback, bringing them in specifically for the role of backup quarterback, I think the Bengals spent an absolute crap ton. I mean, it's a $6 million contract that could be up to $9 million. The Bengals spent, they didn't want Trey Hendrickson because he would cost close to 30. And here's Joe Flacco, the backup at 40 years old, and they're willing to spend a third of that. So I agree with Colton. I do agree with Colton. This was done specifically because they do not trust Joe Burrow to stay healthy. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. All right, we welcome you back. How about this? Earlier today, UC, the Bearcats, they announced Jared Calhoun as their next head coach. Bob Huggins had this to say in a quote. The Naismith Basketball Hall of Famer Bob Huggins said, Jared Calhoun is one of the top young coaches in college basketball. He's earned everything he has gotten. Jared works. He says Jared works. He connects with people, and he knows how to build a program. I've enjoyed watching his growth over the years. Cincinnati is getting a great coach. And that's been, of course, the majority of the headlines today out of Cincinnati, the Bearcats getting their coach. There's a lot of excitement about Calhoun in Cincinnati. Again, he's a former Huggins guy. He knows Cincinnati. He's from the area. I've known Calhoun for quite a few years, going back to when he was the head coach at Youngstown State. I ran into Calhoun a lot, especially, obviously when Wright State played Youngstown State, so I knew him from that, but always would see him at the Flying to the Hoop high school basketball showcase here. Shout out to Eric Horstman and company. But I would always run into him there. He's very familiar with this area for obvious reasons. But I think this is a big deal for UC. And you look around basketball right now. You look around college basketball, and forget Ohio teams just in general. There's a lot of teams who are having to be very aggressive with their decision-making. I mean, North Carolina just moved on from their head coach in a very aggressive move because they just felt like there's not enough momentum. You're competing with Duke, yes, but you're competing with all of college basketball, and they just seem to be falling behind more and more and more. Hubert Davis fired as North Carolina men's basketball coach, and now North Carolina is looking for they have to. Davis is a fine coach. They won a lot of games. He's taken them to Final Four. They beat Duke in the Final Four. Like they've won a lot of games. He can coach. He can recruit. But it just hasn't connected on the floor. And it's interesting. So this is a quote from Coach Davis from earlier today. Once it was announced that it was official, Hubert Davis had this to say. He said that this opportunity has truly been such a blessing. I thank Jesus literally every day for giving me the opportunity, relationships, and experiences with the kids and my staff. I'm very proud of what we were able to accomplish together. My goal is to coach again in the very near future. Davis has nearly about $5.5 million of guaranteed money left on his deal. And the university said in a statement that it would honor those terms of his contract. So, and remember, this is coming off of that stunning loss in the NCAA tournament against VCU out of the A10. Remember, they had a 20-point lead. And they, and VCU was a team I was high on heading into the NCAA tournament. And when I saw that they were down early, I'm like, well, there goes one of my upset picks. But nope, my upset pick stuck because they came all the way back from down 20 and just stunned North Carolina. And it led to them ultimately moving on from Davis. So we'll see what ends up happening in North Carolina. But the thing is, the reason I bring this up is because there's just way too many examples of programs who have expectations. And when those expectations aren't being met, they make changes. There are way too many programs in this state alone that make decisions based on what their expectations of the program are. And if those expectations aren't being met, you know about it. I mean, you see earlier today, Wes Miller won games. Wes Miller was one hell of a recruiter. Wes Miller couldn't get this team to the NCAA tournament. And UC is not just about NCAA tournaments. They are all about competing for championships. Don't believe me? Here's Coach Calhoun earlier today.
We should not be just wanting to get in the NCAA tournament. We should be wanting to advance week by week and get back to a Final Four.
And that's the expectation and goal for UC basketball now. When Xavier lost Sean, and by the way, when Xavier brought Sean Miller back a few years ago, that wasn't brought, they didn't bring Sean Miller back just so they can be a feel-good story in the Big East. They brought Sean Miller in because of the success that he had there the first time, the success he had at Arizona, and he did get them to the NCAA tournament. Xavier wants to be a perennial tournament team and a perennial Sweet 16 contender. They want all those things. And they make decisions based on that. That's why they were aggressive and went and got, Richard Pitino Jr. to be their head coach. That was a championship move. Going to get Calhoun for UC is a championship move. When you have Bob Huggins and you have every bigwig you could think of in UC's history there at that arena to welcome in Jared, they are letting you know we are coming for not just tournament appearances, but tournament success. Xavier is coming for not just tournament appearances, but tournament success. Ohio State, after they did make the tournament this year, but to their credit, they came out in the middle of the season and said, all right, here's the deal. We are going to spend more of our rev share money on the Ohio basketball program because this is unacceptable. Every program out there you could think around the state of Ohio. Xavier making championship moves. UC making championship moves. All right. You look at some of the, smaller programs. Akron is a regular NCAA tournament contender. They are always in the NCAA tournament, it seems. You look at Miami. I'm hearing big things out of Miami, and I'm not saying he's not going to leave because some of these jobs, bigger jobs, are opening up. I don't know if they go the Travis Steele route, but to Travis Steele's credit, who I'm not super, super high on, I can't deny the job that he did. I mean, he did a phenomenal job at Miami, but he's coming back because Miami, who went all in positioning itself, they spent millions on their football program. And I'm hearing that they're putting together a ton of NIL money to back that basketball program because I'm hearing that Miami is thinking bigger than the MAC. They're looking at all this conference realignment that's happening around all of sports. That's why they're investing into football. That's why they're investing into basketball. That's why Miami's getting a new basketball arena because they don't view themselves as a MAC team. They are trying to position themselves to get to the ACC or to a bigger conference. That's everything I'm hearing about what's going on in Miami right now. Miami has a bigger vision. Miami has a bigger goal. UC has a bigger vision. UC has a bigger goal. Xavier has a bigger vision. They have a bigger goal. Wright State's the little engine that could. They have one of the smallest athletic budgets in the entire state, but they are just coming off their third NCAA tournament appearance in the last 8 years. Akron's regularly there. Ohio State, they're going to pump. They're a football school, but they have already come out and said they're going to pump more money into the basketball program. And what is Dayton doing? Well, can't wait for year 10 of Anthony Green. Can't wait for year 10 to see if a coach that has consistently missed the tournament throughout his entire run, not just in Dayton, but the majority of his career, maybe will change that. The least aggressive program in the state of Ohio right now might be Cleveland State and UD. What moves has the front office for Dayton made to make you believe? I say front office, the athletics department. What moves has this athletics department made recently that make you feel like they are trending in the right direction? I have UD fans mad at me always right now because I am not hyping up this NIT matchup that they have tonight. And I said, why are we hyping up a NIT game for UD? Someone said, well, Kenner, if your precious Wright State Raiders were in the NIT, you would be all over it. Well, again, unlike you guys, or technically similar to you guys, I acknowledge the gap, kind of, between UD and Wright State because Wright State and UD are running the same race, but UD gets to start the race from a different starting block. They have quite the head start. Their vision and their goals are much bigger and brighter because they have so many resources. And instead of swimming with the bigger sharks, instead of swimming with the sharks, they're over here with the little minnows. You have mid-major programs that have, Miami just won a tournament game this year. They just got an at-large this year. Wright State just appeared in their third NCAA tournament appearance in the last 8 years. That's 2 times the amount that UD has had in that same time span. So, yes, they're in the NIT. Yes, they have a good chance to get to the Final Four of the NIT with the win tonight. Yes, they could theoretically win this NIT, and I'll never say that a championship is bad. Winning an NIT championship would be huge if you're going to play in this mid-major tournament, you might as well go win it. And it would mean even more, too, because if Auburn can get to the final, I would like to see UD beat – I mean, that'll make it sweeter. UD could beat Auburn in the NIT championship at Hinkle. Yes, that's a very good look, and that's a great way to end the season. If you could win your final game of the season in tournament postseason play, I'll never say that's a bad thing. But you just heard Calhoun say for UC, our goal is not just to get to the tournament. We want to get back to the Final Four. What are Dayton's goals anymore? I'm being dead serious. And UD fans, you got to agree with me on this. You don't have to like me. Many of you don't. Most of you hate me. That's totally fine. I'm not very likable. But you hate me and you don't like me because you know I'm right. UC has made their goal and their mission very, very clear. Same thing with Xavier. Same thing with Ohio State. Wright State, with one of the smallest athletic budgets in the state, does way more with less. I'm always a do more with less guy, and I can't respect do less with more. That's why I don't respect UD. That's why I don't appreciate what they do or don't do. Even when they do good things, it's just a constant reminder of the bad because it's like, oh, you are capable of that. Oh, you are capable of going on a big winning streak and beating the teams that you should. Oh, you are capable of beating up on bad teams. Oh, you are capable. But then you lose to LaSalle, and you go on these little 3-4 game losing streaks in A10 play, and you shoot yourself in the foot. You lose to, whoever. Who'd you guys lose to in the final? Oh, Liberty. Liberty. You lost to Liberty in their final non-conference game of the season. Games you should win. Stretches of bad teams that you should. I don't want to hear excuses about lack of energy in arenas late in the season and all the other stuff I've heard respectfully. I can't get on board with that. North Carolina had a coach that actually took them to a Final Four, beat Duke, beat Coach Krzyzewski in a Final Four. They just fired that guy today because their expectations aren't being met. And now UD has had to dumb down their program because Neil Sullivan, when Archie Miller left, said that this was about championship and it was about NCAA tournament appearances. But because Anthony Grant's a nice guy, now we have to sit here and dumb down the program and say, well, by golly, we're competitive. By golly, we're in the NIT. By golly. All well, the team that they mock and make fun of all the time, Wright State, has had 3 times the amount of NCAA tournament appearances as your precious Flyers. So if you want to know why I am not sitting here, go Dayton Flyers, as we head into this NIT game tonight, that is why. Good for UC. They didn't settle and say, Wes Miller, Wes Miller, they won some big games down the stretch, They recruit well. They're putting guys in the NBA. And to UC fans' credit, their attendance isn't what UD's is, but, I mean, UC attendance is pretty solid. Like, people love their UC basketball. But their athletics department said, hey, we know we have fans that love our basketball, so we're not going to slap you guys in the face and bring Wes Miller back for another year. No, we're going to go make sure we make a championship caliber move to prove that we love our basketball fans as well. When is Dayton going to make that championship move? And I don't mean the NIT championship. I mean, we are serious. We love Anthony Grant, but we are serious. We are about NCAA tournament appearances. And Anthony Grant, you failed again. We're talking one true tournament appearance in 9 years, guys. How am I wrong for that? Well, Justin, there's injuries every year. Well, Justin, they lost a lot of guys to the portal. Yeah, so does everybody. I mean, VCU loses players to the portal. They lose coaches every couple years, and they just keep on chugging along because that's a healthy program. And I feel like Dayton doesn't. They have that identity crisis. I've been saying it for years. This idea that, we want a coach that wants to be here. We don't want a coach that's going to come here and leapfrog to the next job. That's how this works. That's why VCU is a more successful program than Dayton. They don't have as many fans at games as Dayton. They don't generate as much money as Dayton. All right, they don't have the resources that Dayton does, but they are a better program. I'm tired of hearing about attendance. I don't care about attendance. You don't hang banners. You don't get to Sweet 16s. You don't get to Elite 8s. You don't even get at-large bids because, we have 13,000 fans that go to our games. Oh, my gosh, did you see all the Flyer faithful that went to Maui? Yeah, I think the Flyer faithful would love to start their season in Maui and end it in the NCAA tournament, but you won't give it to them. But that 5'5" fat radio host in Dayton for 1410 ESPN Radio, oh man, he's just a hater because I took what your athletic director said was the goal and purpose of the program, and I hold you to it. And when you don't live up to it, I'm the bad guy. I feel like as a Dayton radio host, I'm holding your program to a significantly higher standard than you. But yes, I got multiple emails today. My boss got some emails today that he showed me that people were mad because I wasn't giving them the love for the NIT run that they're currently on. And I said, the fact that you guys are upset about not getting coverage, which by the way, the TV stations, I saw a TV station in town the other day that was, oh my gosh, let's give the timeline of how the Dayton Flyers ended up with Dirk Hack's brother. You ended up with Dirk Hack's brother because Providence lost their coach and he dumped you. He didn't pick you the first time. He picked you the second time. We need to see a timeline. We need a whole TV feature on how this came about. How about you win with I'm tired of hearing about all the talent. Of course, Anthony Grant gets talent. He's phenomenal at that. These players are really good that Dayton has. I want to see those players win and not win NIT games, not win meaningless games down the stretch in February. Win the games that matter. Get back to being what they were when Archie Miller was here, which was a consistent threat in the NCAA tournament. Sorry, I know I'm probably being a little too aggressive. I apologize because not all UD fans hate me. Not all of you guys are as mean to me as what I am to you whenever I take out what 3 or 4 UD fans say about me, and then I take it out on all of you coming these airwaves. But it's frustrating because I guarantee you if the roles were reversed and UD was in the NCAA tournament and then I was ignoring that because people were mad that I was talking about Wright State in the tournament and not UD in the NIT, and I guarantee you if the roles were reversed, you wouldn't want me talking about Wright State in the NIT and ignoring Dayton in the NCAA tournament. And that's what a lot of you were wanting. And it just doesn't work that way. UD fan 07 on YouTube says, haven't watched 1 minute of the NIT. I don't care because they didn't get to the tournament. Tired of continually missing it every year and the excuses. It's a lot of excuses. Now, I say all of this, and I'm going to end it with it. You're in this NIT tournament, and you have a prime opportunity to win this thing. Dayton should win this NIT tournament. You look at the field. Okay, you look at how this is kind of shaken out. All right, tonight they're at home. You got Illinois State. Dayton is a 7.5-point favorite. A 7.5-point favorite. All right, and then we're going to find out who the winner of those two teams will go play. And then you have New Mexico and Tulsa. They'll play on April 2nd. And then, of course, you wait for the final on April 8th. And that's kind of later on. But I'm sorry. I let some emails get to me today. And the fact that I have UD fans trying to get me fired from my boss because I'm disrespecting the Flyers. I'm not. What? 1 tournament appearance in 9 years. It's 2 if you count COVID. Fine. 2 tournament in 9 years. And I'm supposed to say that's good. North Carolina had a coach that took him to a Final Four and retired Mike Krzyzewski. North Carolina consistently makes the NCAA tournament. And they said, that's great, but that's not who we're not just trying to get to the tournament. We're trying to win championships and win in the tournament. They have a bar of expectations and they have a standard. And if you don't live up to that standard, even if you are an alum, they move on. UC said enough is enough, Wes Miller. We have a bar. We have a standard of expectations. It's not being met. Time to go. We'll get someone in here who will do that. And I just feel like there's too many programs in this state that are making moves to match what their true expectations are. And everyone else is moving that bar up or making decisions to match that bar. UD continuously underachieves, continuously fails. And yet we throw parades because they landed a 4-star recruit, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong, but you're burying the lead here. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. I'm sure I pissed off a good amount of people. I'm sorry. My bad. But I'm not going to change my opinion on it. I'm not. I've been consistent. I will not change my mind on this. They need a new head coach. I don't care. Anthony Grant wins a lot of games. Well, yeah. You win a lot of games at Dayton because of the arena, because of the fan base, because of the resources, because of the NIL. The next coach at Dayton, you would expect them to win games and get good players. But that next coach that comes in might do something that Anthony Grant hasn't done, which is consistently get to the NCAA tournament. VCU could do it. All these teams out there could do it. Wright State's made the NCAA tournament 3 times in 8 years, and they made a change 2 years ago. It could be, it could be done. You just got to be willing to do it. But you keep settling for mediocrity, and you get, I'm not even saying you're not getting what you pay for. You're paying a lot of money to a man that continuously underachieves. So it's not even one of those, you get what you pay for. No, you're not getting what you pay for. You're spending a lot of money to come up short. I really wonder what that NIT bonus is like. We'll be right back.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Dayton's radio home for Buckeyes football. 1410 WING. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Why shop the Hustler Pro Sales event this March? It's your chance to get the equipment you need for the season and save. Buy select commercial mowers and save 20% or more with additional savings from Hustler's fleet program. Hustler mowers are known for their productivity, performance, and reliability. They're built to work as hard as you. Sun up to sundown. Ready to upgrade your fleet? Visit Small Engine Service Pros on Route 235 in Carlisle and shop the Hustler Pro Sales event today. Discount applies to commercial mowers only. For valid 3/1 to 3/31/2026. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Before smartphones, GPS, Google Maps, there was MapQuest. And guess what? MapQuest is back. Now on your phone. Download the MapQuest app on the App Store or visit mapquest.com.
Are you ready to tackle this tax season alone? Well, you don't have to. Belmont Business Consultants and Tax Services, with its 30-plus years of experience, is here to help you with business and individual taxes, bookkeeping, and payroll, either in person, drop-off, or through their secure client portal. Belmont Business Consultants in Eaton and Dayton is standing by. Call them in Eaton at 937-472-3300 or in Dayton at 937-252-2217 or on the web at belmontbctxs.com.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Huber Heights, Clayton, Downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The forecast, mostly cloudy, chance of showers and 55 tonight. Chance of rain, mostly sunny, though by afternoon, 80 tomorrow. And a chance of showers and 49 Friday. Rick Schreck for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Ready to love where you live? The Clark County Home and Garden Show returns March 27th through the 29th at the Clark County Fairgrounds in Springfield, presented by Home Genius Interiors. This is your chance to meet trusted local pros, explore fresh ideas, and get inspired for your next renovation or landscaping project. Admission is free, powered by Buckeye Decorative Concrete. 3 days. Real experts, real inspiration. March 27th through 29th, the Clark County Home and Garden Show, where your next project begins.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
We know exactly what you're not thinking about right now. Wiper blades. But now that you are, take a moment to think about how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America. Why? Because Rain-X thinks about wiper blades all the time. We obsess, so you don't have to. Simply install our blades and then think about literally anything else. So choose Rain-X, America's #1 wiper blades, and then go back to not thinking about wiper blades. Rain-X, outsmart the elements.
When you're vacationing in your RV, there are some things you can always count on. Laying out on a hammock, waking up to birds chirping, and board games with the family.
What? It's not cheating.
Frank, you're scaring the kids.
Oh, come on, guys. We're having fun. It's family time.
With Progressive, your RV is protected 24/7, so you're prepared for whatever you don't see coming.
Technically, it's a loophole.
It's a children's board game. You're a grown man, Frank.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in D.C.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Do you or someone you know need a driver's license? Sign up now to get your testing completed at our Moraine Auto Title location. Hi, I'm Shannon Crabtree from the Montgomery County Clerk of Court's office. Clerk Foley is proud to team up with the Ohio BMV to be a designated testing location, perfect for new drivers in southern Montgomery County. Schedule your driving skills test now on the Ohio BMV website. Choose a location at 5552 North Springboro Pike. Testing fees apply. We even have weekend hours to accommodate your busy schedule. Just another convenient service of your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts, Mike Foley.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Upgrade to a new quality bath remodel in less time with minimal inconvenience and for less money with Bath Creations in as little as 2 days. We do it right. There are a lot of others boasting about bath remodels these days. Well, Bath Creations' expert craftsmanship and customer service speaks for itself. Plus, all first responders, veterans, and active military will save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit our beautiful showroom at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton or at mybathcreations.com and upgrade your new bath today.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we are back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. Dayton's radio home for Cincinnati Reds baseball. Opening day is finally here. Well, not today, but tomorrow. No show tomorrow due to Reds opening day. We'll be at Great American Ballpark tomorrow for opening day. We'll be out there all day long. I'll be following the ESPN Dayton social media channels. We'll be bringing you a lot of content from throughout the day. Looking forward to that. I've been fortunate to attend the last 3 opening days after spending my entire life not attending an opening day, and now I will not miss it. It's kind of a tradition between me and a couple of my best friends. We always go down there and always experience it. Always a blast, always a great time, and hopefully some of the trends of spring training, the bad ones at least, don't carry over into tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll get to see Andrew Abbott make his first opening day start, but unfortunately, there's some, the injury stuff, right? Like the injuries just keep dominating this. Like, here's your rotation. So the Reds have officially announced the rotation to start the season. And Andrew Abbott will be your opening day starter. But the reason we were excited about this team is because the rotation was supposed to look something along the lines of a Hunter Green, a Nick Lodolo, an Andrew Abbott, a Chase Burns, and Rhett Lauder, maybe a Williamson, Brady Singer. Well, right now, it's a little bit of a blow whenever you come into the season and Hunter Green will not pitch for the Reds until at the earliest July, and Nick Lodolo ends up on the IL. And that's, I think, retro to 3/23, so just a couple of days ago. But, a couple of transactions that the Reds have made earlier today. They placed on the 15-day injured list left-handed pitcher Caleb Ferguson. He has that oblique muscle strain. That goes back to the 22nd. The Caleb Ferguson one, I think, is a big deal. I actually think that that one the Reds need to get him back. I'm not going to do the whole panic thing. It's March, but that was one of the big additions they made to bolster that bullpen. And him being a lefty is very key as well. But you have two left-handed pitchers that the Reds just put on the IL today, one out of the bullpen and Caleb Ferguson, and then, of course, Nick Lodolo. We talked about Caleb Ferguson, who had that oblique muscle strain that goes back to the 22nd. But Nick Lodolo has a blister on his left index finger. And again, that's on that left throwing hand. He's a lefty. It's on his throwing hand. That's a concern. That's a problem. I don't know what it is. I don't know, and I've never been a pitcher, but is it the way he holds the ball? Is it the way he releases the ball? One of the excuses, if that's what you want to call it, or the explanations, if you will, that came out, was the last time he pitched when he left the game with that blister, it was because of how hot it was. In fact, one reason that Brady Singer, that they were concerned about him for a bit, was because he was also starting to develop a blister who had also pitched in those really hot temperatures. So, it's just kind of one of those things where, we don't know what to believe. I've told you before, I don't trust the Reds' handling of injuries. We've seen, to me, when I hear, oh, he has a blister, okay, that'll be a couple-week thing, but we've seen a blister keep Nick Lodolo out for months before. This rotation's good enough to withstand a Hunter Green absence for a few months. I don't know how good this team can be if you're without Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo for months. That's a concern. But here's how and I want to give a shout out to Charlie Goldsmith. He does a phenomenal job covering the Reds. If you don't follow him, give him a follow, Charlie G _ on X. But he put out this perfect laid out chart of the Reds. Yes, Andrew Abbott, the opening day starter, but the order of the rotation and who they'll be, when they'll pitch and who they'll be pitching against. So the Boston series gets underway tomorrow. Crochet for the Red Sox will be going up against Andrew Abbott for the Reds. I'm an Andrew Abbott guy, but he has been horrendous this spring. We'll see if he could snap out of it tomorrow. That'd be nice if he could, because Boston will make you pay. But Andrew Abbott will pitch game 1 against the Red Sox. Brady in an off day on Friday, and then back at it on Saturday. Brady Singer will pitch game 2 against the Red Sox, with Rhett Lauder going on day 3. So the rotation looks like this because again, this is how I envisioned it looking with the fully healthy rotation. You would have Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, Andrew Abbott, Chase Burns, and then of course you would have Brady Singer. But right now it's Brady Singer is your number 2 pitcher. Andrew Abbott, Brady Singer, Rhett Lauder will pitch game 3 against the Red Sox. Excited for Lauder. He looks like he's throwing, he's back to throwing stuff. He had that weird injury last year as well, where it really wasn't a surgery or any kind of procedure that could be done to fix his injury. It was just a lot of rehab, and he ended up missing all of last year. That was a problem. But you get Lauder back. Andrew Abbott, Brady Singer, Rhett Lauder, Chase Burns will pitch game 1 against the Pirates, and it does sound like that could potentially line up with going up against Paul Skeens and the Pirates. How cool would that be to see Chase Burns against Paul Skeens? That would be a phenomenal pitching matchup. Williams will pitch game 5, or will pitch the 5th. I shouldn't say game 5. He will pitch the 5th game of the season, if you will, but he'll pitch game 2 against the Pirates, and then we're back to the top of the rotation with Andrew Abbott. So we'll see how this goes. It does, according to this, okay, Charlie Goldsmith does a good job of laying this out. Nick Lodolo could be eligible to return by April 7th when the Reds are on the road for the Miami series. In fact, after they have 3 against the Red Sox at home, then they have 3 against Pittsburgh at home. They have an off day on April 2nd, and then they have a 7-game road trip already right off the bat. They'll be at Texas for 3 and at Miami for 4. The 3 games at Texas will feature, as long as everything lines up right, Brady Singer, Rhett Lauder, Chase Burns. And then the Miami series will feature Williamson, Andrew Abbott, possibly Nick Lodolo could be back by April 8th. But like I said, it's nice to see that that's when he's projected to be back. It's nice to see it, but I just don't trust the Reds' handling of these injuries. I've seen a blister keep him out for months. So this idea that he has a blister on his throwing hand and, he'll only be out for 2 weeks, I have a hard time believing that. But I want to believe it, and I'm going to choose to believe it because I don't want to start the season out on a negative note. I think this Reds team is pretty damn good. I think that this front office could have been more aggressive when it comes to this lineup, but I love the fact that they did get Eugenio Suarez. We cannot sit here and act like that wasn't a big deal. I was disappointed in how the Kyle Schwarber pursuit ended up. I think that it was ridiculous to even attempt to go after Kyle Schwarber and then come up short by $5 million a year. I just thought that was silly. Like, why even pursue Kyle Schwarber and then put the hands up and say, well, he's too much money? Well, you knew that heading in. So I was embarrassed by the Reds handling of that, but to their credit, they turned right around. And for half of what they were going to have to pay for Schwarber, they ended up paying that for, Eugenio Suarez. Now it's a 2-year deal. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But I'm going to go all in on this 1 year. I don't think there's a season next year. So I'm going to go all in for this season, which is why I wanted the Reds to go all in as far as that goes. But tomorrow, I can't wait. I can't wait for tomorrow. I'm just going to have hope that Andrew Abbott can snap out of the struggles that he's had throughout spring training. He's been bad, guys. He's been really bad. In 17 games, he has an ERA over 11. He's given up 25 hits in those 17 games. He's given up, I think, like 8 home runs or something like that. Like, he's given up a lot of home runs. He's only walked, I think, like 6, 7 batters. So it's not like it's been a controlled thing. He's been very hittable, if you will. If that's any kind of professional prognosis there. He's just been very hittable. So how about that? But Scott Campbell, what up, Scott? I know it's baseball. Like, shout out to my guy Scott here, all right? I don't see Scott popping the page too often throughout the calendar year, except for when that calendar switches to baseball season. And Scott, I can tell it's baseball season when you pop back up in the chat. So I hope you're doing well. Scott Campbell says, let's go Reds. Scott also says the Reds have 5 off days between now and the end of April. The rotation can have a few weeks where Lodolo's spot is skipped. See, that's that type of optimism I like. We have all year to be negative. We've had all offseason to be negative. I'm going to roll with my guy Scott here and be positive. That's a good point. I didn't even notice that. I didn't even pick up on that. The Reds do have 5 off days between now and the end of April. There's a lot of opportunities to kind of bring in Nick Lodolo and to bring back some of these guys. But I'm not worried about Hunter Green's absence. I don't know why. I'm really not. I think Nick Lodolo is a hell of a pitcher. I think Rhett Lauder's a hell of a pitcher. Chase Burns is phenomenal. Did you see Chase Burns yesterday? That's the best he looked all spring, and I think that Tito has done a good job utilizing spring and gradually bringing guys along. He got better and better with each start. I can't wait to see what he does when he gets his first start of the season in Game 1 next week against the Pittsburgh Pirates. So there you go. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. I'm just glad the season's here. We'll be right back.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Some people reach a line and stop. Some hit a wall and turn around. Then there are the ones who cross the line, climb the wall, face obstacles, and turn them to their advantage. That's where we come in. We're the next rodeo. We design bold marketing that drives real growth. A creative partner for businesses ready to push forward beyond what's expected. The Next Rodeo. Learn more at thenextrodeo.com.
Take the next step forward in your career with Progressive Insurance. With great benefits and an award-winning workplace. Apply at careers.progressive.com.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting. Just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move. A pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
It's game time with Hoops and Hops at Milano's. The hoop action will be hot and the hops will be flowing with our ice-cold all-star beer selection. You got to make Milano's Pizza Subs and Taps your home court for all the tournament games. MilanoSubs.com.
You and your family are safer when strong leaders stand with law enforcement. That's why, as governor, Vivek Ramaswamy will partner with police to uphold our laws, keep dangerous criminals behind bars, and protect your family. Law enforcement knows Vivek has their back. That's why 65 Ohio sheriffs endorsed him, including Sheriff Stephen Lavorchek.
Safe streets don't just happen. They happen when criminals know tough leaders are in charge. Ohio law enforcement supports Vivek Ramaswamy because Vivek supports us. Vivek will empower police to arrest violent criminals quickly and decisively, putting trained resource officers in every school and restoring law and order statewide. so our families feel secure in our homes and communities. Vivek Ramaswamy backs the blue, so we've got his back for governor all the way.
Lower costs, bigger paychecks, better schools. Vivek Ramaswamy for governor.
Paid for by Vivek Ramaswamy and Rob McCauley for Ohio.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Stop by Columbus Equipment in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see their full line of Kubota construction equipment, or check them out online at columbusequipment.com.
Cordell Transportation is looking for more weekend warriors. If you have a Class A CDL and would like to make some extra money casually driving weekend daytime routes, then Cordell Transportation is looking for you. Home daily, all loads round trip, no touch freight, and competitive pay. Full-time routes could become available if you're interested. Drive weekends at Cordell Transportation. Apply at CordellTransportation.com or call Ron at 937-277-7271. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Star City Concrete is the Miami Valley's most trusted concrete company, offering unparalleled services as a local family-owned business celebrating 20 years. We offer residential and commercial driveways, patios, walkways, steps, barn floors, slabs, foundations, and much more. Star City Concrete takes pride in delivering exceptional quality in every project. Our professional team understands that needs are unique, so we offer personalized solutions that stand the test of time. Contact us today for a quote at StarCityConcreteLLC.com. You'll be glad you did.
Life can be hard, so Progressive makes bundling your home and auto easy. Hope that helps. Learn more at Progressive.com or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Coming this winter, a deal so epic, so huge, so famous. You'll have to taste it to believe it. The Homestyle Bowl Combo. Affordability strikes back. Starring famous chicken, melty cheese, sweet corn, mashed potatoes, and rich gravy. The Homestyle Bowl Combo with a regular drink. Now playing for just $4.99 at a Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken near you. Famous for a reason.
Turn your tax refund into a new door with Menards. Make this the year you check that project off the list. For over 50 years, Mastercraft has been making great doors inside and out. From traditional to contemporary, Mastercraft offers styles to fit every home. Shop our in-stock selection or design your door your way, in-store or online. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show. Right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
It's 4:22 here in the Miami Valley. I hope everybody's had a great week thus far. Tomorrow's opening day. Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo, the Reds' top two pitchers, start the season on the IL. I'm not going to let that damper my excitement for the season, though, because Matt McLain has been phenomenal throughout spring. Eugenio Suarez is back. All right, Ellie seems healthy. He's had a phenomenal spring. He had a big day yesterday as well. I'm all in on letting the Reds make a fool of me again. I think the reason, because people said last year, why would you even have such high expectations for this team last year? I think those expectations were fair. Matt McLain, when healthy, can ball. He's good. And Matt McLain's been phenomenal this spring. Ellie, when healthy, is a generational talent, as we've seen. You know, I do think some of the errors and the high strikeout numbers, although he's still striking out a little bit more than I'd like in spring, I think a lot of that stuff had to do with him overcompensating for the quad injury that he was playing through last year. So, I'm just a big believer in that. I think that they made some good additions in the offseason. Getting that bullpen tuned up was huge, because when this team's completely healthy, it's one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball. It's a little banged up right now. But, you look at what they have left and you look at, like, the pieces. I'm like, I'm still a fan of what the Reds have left in this rotation. I mean, even without Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo, even without those key pieces right there, I'm like, hey, I kind of like the five that the Reds are rolling out. Maybe not for a full 162-game season, but Andrew Abbott has been one of the Reds' best pitchers for years now. Brady Singer was a tremendous pickup when they traded Jonathan India for him before last season. Rhett Lauder, unbelievable how easy he makes it look when he's healthy and out there. Chase Burns, I think, has the capability of it would not surprise me if within the next year that he's rivaling Hunter Green for we're debating who's the face, who is the true ace of this rotation. I think if Hunter Green continues, if Chase Burns continues on the trajectory that he's on, and Hunter Green continues on his Joe Burrow trajectory of not being reliable, I don't think it will be a debate. I think we'll be saying Chase Burns is the face, is the ace of this rotation. Brett Williamson is a phenomenal back end of the rotation option, and then you're right back up to the top, of course. So when Nick Lodolo and Hunter Green come back, all right, now you have Hunter Green, you have Nick Lodolo, you have Andrew Abbott, Brady Singer, Rhett Lauder, Chase Burns, Brendan Williamson. Great. You have too many cooks in the kitchen, and I will always take too many cooks in the kitchen. That is always a good thing. That is always a good thing to me because look, and we've always said too, when spring training starts, sometimes stuff always takes care of itself. We were wondering that, with the front office, that, that Tito and company, they were gonna have to make some tough decisions on which pitchers were gonna be on the outside looking in. There's no tough decisions right now. Everyone kinda had has their slot. Everyone has their role, and I'm fine with this. And, based on when Nick Lodolo went on the IL retro to March 23rd, today's the 25th, opening day tomorrow, we could see Nick Lodolo eligible to return as early as April 7th. His spot in the rotation would be due up in game 3 against Miami here in a few weeks. In game 3, pitching second in this order behind Andrew Abbott. So we'll see what ultimately ends up happening when it's all said and done. I'm excited. I'm glad that the season is here. We just got to get through tomorrow. Chad Kinster, what up, Chad? Chad's cutthroat. He says, put a Band-Aid on your blister and stop being a baby. Yeah. I mean, it's just funny because it just sounds so it's a blister. Like, what are you doing? Like, get out there. But a blister on your throwing hand, I mean, that really could just throw everything off. And like I said, 2 years ago, whenever he missed 2 months because of a blister, I've been scarred by him ever since because I, like Chad, was like, oh, it's just a blister. We've all had a little blister on our finger or whatever. If you're actually doing some physical labor, you'll get a blister. It'll hurt for a few days, a week, and it's healed up and you're back, ready to go. And this guy missed 2 months because of it. Yeah. I get it. As far as that goes. How about this over in the NBA? We don't talk a lot of NBA. But the NBA, the Players Association, is pissed off because there are some key players that are going to be ineligible for regular season awards this year due to not playing in 65 or more games this season. I have checked out on the NBA over the years because I am tired of hearing entitled, spoiled, never been told no in their life, rich athletes. I am tired of those individuals telling us how they work too hard with the amount of money that they're getting paid. When we watched players growing up who made significantly less than these dudes, and you would have to physically pull them off the floor. They would play through injury, went to where we would be pissed off that they're playing through injuries because it can impact their play on the floor. But Pistons guard Cade Cunningham, his eligibility for individual honors such as a spot on the All-NBA team is in some doubt right now because of the 65-game rule for such awards, and the Players Association said on Tuesday that should no longer be the case. The National Basketball Association, which through collective bargaining agreed to that rule as part of the current agreement between the league and its players, said it, at minimum, wants to see the rule ended. They talked about the fact that Cade Cunningham's potential ineligibility for postseason awards after a career-defining season is a clear indictment of the 65-game rule, and yet another example of why it must be abolished or reformed to create an exception for significant injuries. The problem with this is don't get mad at the league, don't get mad at the fans. Take some accountability. Stephen A. Smith said it earlier today on First Take. I know some of you are exhausted with Stephen A. Smith. I'm a Stephen A. Smith guy. But he pointed the finger where the finger needed to be pointed, and he said, this is on you, the players. Think about why this rule was implemented. This rule was done as another way to try to incentivize NBA players to play NBA games. It was getting so out of control and so out of hand with load management and players refusing to play or taking a small injury and blowing it up to the point where you're just sitting out the rest of the season. We're still seeing it this year, by the way. The whole reason that this rule was implemented was because the league was having the fans have checked out on the NBA. Ratings are, and I'm not, going all Clay Travis on you. He's not wrong. Ratings for the NBA continue to decline. Interest in the NBA continues to decline, and it's not like our country is checking out on basketball because even with all the chaos that's happening in college basketball, we just saw the best ratings in the history of the NCAA tournament in the opening rounds. From Thursday through Sunday, more fans watched the NCAA tournament than ever before. And that's even with all the chaos, with all the NIL and transfer portal mess and everything else that's going on. More fans watch. People love basketball in this country. But yet the NBA can't get people to watch. And why? People are watching the NBA. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's the WNBA, but I mean, it's no one's watching the NBA compared to how they used to take it in. It's not as popular as it used to be because fans are tired of when you tune into a game, your favorite player's not playing, or when you tune into a sports talk show or a program like First Take and Others, you're being scolded by NBA players because the game's just so difficult today. You don't understand. Today's game, you need more rest. We want to play less games. These guys want to get paid more and play less. And they wonder why us as fans are having a hard time connecting. I was the biggest NBA fan growing up. I was obsessed with the NBA. I sit down now and I watch the Cavs because I love Donovan Mitchell. I wasn't a big James Harden guy at first. I'm all in on James Harden in Cleveland now. I like Cleveland. If they avoid Boston in the first couple of rounds of the playoffs, and then they have a legit shot to actually get to an Eastern Conference, maybe even a finals out of the East. I'm all in on Cleveland. But again, the NBA as a whole, I used to be able to sit down and watch any NBA game now. Now, every time I tune in, I can't wait to watch so-and-so play. Oh, it's a load management day. Oh, they tweaked their ankle, so they're out for 2 months. So this whole idea of the Players Association and the league pissed off, they have no one to blame but themselves. This is what happens when you throw a half a decade temper tantrum of not wanting to play games. You're paid to play games, and you don't want to play games. You don't want to play back-to-back games. You don't want to play on Christmas Day. I'm tired of hearing NBA players complain about having to play on Christmas Day. I don't feel bad for you. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. The NBA ticks me off, man. Every time we get to this stuff, it's just it's irritating. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. I want to step away one more time. And by the way, 937-518, you could text. I haven't checked the text line. Let me go back to the text line. We can address some of these in the text line when we come back. All right. I appreciate these messages that are coming in. We're going to get to these when we come back. 937-518-1410. Dayton and the NIT tonight, Illinois State at UD Arena. We thought that the Flyers had wrapped up their home portion of the season. That is not the case. It's the quarterfinals of the NIT, and the Flyers have a chance to punch their ticket to the semifinals with a win over Illinois State tonight, and they are 7.5-point favorites. The Bearcats introduced Calhoun earlier today as their new head coach, and they had Bob Huggins in attendance. Bob Huggins, a big fan and a big supporter of Jared Calhoun, who was announced as the Bearcats' replacement for Wes Miller earlier today. They're in the best basketball conference. They have a ton of NIL support, and they might have just got the best young and up-and-coming coach in all of college basketball. You see, they know what they want, and they went out and got it. Xavier, a year ago, they lost Sean Miller. They knew what they wanted, and they went out and got it. They have a standard. They have an expectation. Ohio State's not meeting their expectation, although they did finally crack that at-large bid this year, but that's still not where Ohio State wants to be. They want to be, there's 6 teams in the Big Ten playing this weekend. Ohio State's not one of them. There's no excuse why they shouldn't be, which is why they've come out and said, we are going to invest more money into the basketball program next year. They're showing urgency. Too many teams across this state alone are showing urgency and trying to improve their basketball program. There's only one that is not. There's one program that is continuously settling for mediocrity, and it's the team here in town that has made the NCAA tournament one time in the last 9 years. I'll talk about that more when we come back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Food truck owners, today business will be booming. People will love your new menu and not make special orders. You will not roll your eyes when someone calls it a quesadilla. You will also switch to Progressive to get 30 customizable coverage options and restore your inner peace. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and coverage selections.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-7098. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com.